Bari to Istanbul. After successfully unloading grain at the Italian port of Bari, we managed to break free from the dock, pilot, despite a few collisions with a neighboring vessel moored next to us. Once in open waters, the process of washing down the holds and decks began. The ship had to be prepared quickly for loading the next cargo. The weather was perfect, so the first mate was able to inspect the aft section of the vessel for any hull damage from the impact with the quay in Bari. Fortunately, there was only a small scratch, which was immediately painted over, and a scare during the departure from the pier. During the transition, the first mate and bosun made the necessary reports. However, the weather soon began to worsen, and a tired passenger arrived on board, a pigeon, which we took in, fed, and watered. The night passed, but the following day, the strong winds blew our pigeon into the sea. The wind was so fierce that our autopilot couldn't handle it, continuously triggering alarms, and the ship was being blown off course. We passed entire islands with wind farms. The weather continued to deteriorate, and the forecast was grim, so we decided to take shelter behind the Greek islands. It was calm there, and we were able to relax and fish. A few other ships also sought refuge from the storm nearby. After several days, the weather improved and we continued our journey. We passed under a brand new bridge across the Dardanelles Strait at night. What a breathtaking sight. The Marble Sea was quite busy with traffic, but after about 10 hours, we finally arrived at the anchorage off Istanbul. The sky was cloudy, but there was no wind. And the weather was warm. This brought all the fishermen out onto the deck to enjoy their favorite pastime. A journey from Bari to Istanbul. After a successful unloading of grain at the Italian port of Bari, the crew was ready to embark on the next leg of our journey. We had waited for the pilot to guide us, and we collided with a neighboring vessel moored alongside us at the quay. A few bumps and shudders rattled the ship, but nothing serious came of it, and soon we were on our way, cutting through the calm waters of the Adriatic Sea. The Adriatic is a part of the Mediterranean Sea that separates the Italian peninsula from the Balkan Peninsula. It stretches from the Strait of Otranto in the south, where it connects to the Ionian Sea, all the way up to the northern coast of Italy and Slovenia. The waters here are typically calm, making it an ideal starting point for our voyage. As we moved farther out into the sea, the crew got to work on washing down the holds and decks, preparing the ship for its next cargo. The weather was perfect for this task: clear skies, a gentle breeze, and the soothing sound of the waves beneath the hull. The ship needed to be ready quickly. There was no time to waste.
Morning.
First mate, taking advantage of the calm conditions, began inspecting the aft section of the ship, checking for any damage caused by the earlier bump against the quay in Bari. Fortunately, only a small scratch marred the vessel's hull. A quick coat of paint covered the scratch, and all was well. The real damage, however, had been the brief scare we'd experienced during our departure, a reminder of how unpredictable things can get in busy harbors. The first mate and the bosun completed their reports, but soon the peaceful atmosphere began to shift. We entered the Aegean Sea, and with it, the weather started to change. The winds picked up, and it was clear that the calm of the Adriatic was no more. The Aegean, known for its winds, was showing its more unpredictable side. It wasn't long before a new passenger arrived aboard, a tired pigeon, who must have been exhausted from its long flight. We took pity on the bird, feeding it and providing it with water. It seemed grateful and rested on the deck as we moved further into the Aegean, but the wind continued to increase.
It's paradise.
And by the next day, it had grown so strong that it blew our little pigeon right into the sea. The winds were relentless, and it felt as if they were pushing us off course as well. We were using our autopilot, but the force of the wind triggered alarms.
Auto steering giving all the time alarm. You see the difference between the set and actual course. We will move.
Warning us that we were veering off our intended path. It was a strange feeling, our ship, designed to withstand much harsher conditions, was being tossed around by the wind like a toy on the water. As we sailed through the Aegean, we passed entire islands with towering wind farms, their turbines spinning rapidly in the fierce gusts. The sight of them, giant white blades turning in the wind, seemed to mirror the battle we were facing. The weather continued to worsen, and the forecast painted an even grimmer picture. It became clear that we would need to find shelter. That's when we made the decision to take refuge behind the Greek islands. These islands, scattered across the Aegean, act as a natural barrier from the fierce winds that can sweep through the region. We anchored in a quiet bay, and the contrast from the tumultuous seas outside was immediate. Here, the waters were calm, and for the first time in a while, we could relax. The crew took a much-needed break, and some of us even fished. It felt like a momentary escape from the storm. with the clear blue sky and the soothing sounds of the water lapping against the hull. We weren't the only ones seeking shelter.
Okay, come on. Everything is not bad.
A few other ships, battered by the same storm, had also anchored nearby. We spent several days here, waiting for the weather to improve.
Romania, Ismail будут.
The winds howled outside the shelter of the islands, but within, it was peaceful. It was a reminder of how the sea can be both a friend and a foe, offering calm and shelter one moment and fury the next. As the days passed, the storm eventually relented, the wind calmed, and the forecast finally promised better weather ahead.
Starboard side of the port.
We were eager to resume our journey. We left the protection of the Greek islands and continued our voyage toward Istanbul, passing back into the open Aegean Sea. That night, we sailed under a newly constructed bridge spanning the Dardanelles Strait. The Dardanelles is a narrow, natural strait that connects the Aegean Sea to the Sea of Marmara. It has been a critical waterway for centuries, especially for trade and military strategy, as it provides a passage between the Mediterranean and the Black Sea. This new bridge, a marvel of modern engineering, stood as a symbol of progress in the region. We passed under it in awe, the lights of the bridge casting a soft glow over the water. It was a stunning sight, a testament to human ingenuity and the natural beauty of the area. The Sea of Marmara lay ahead, bustling with traffic as ships navigated its busy waters. This body of water, unlike the Aegean and Adriatic seas, is a closed sea, and its role as a connector between the Black Sea and the Mediterranean has made it a hub of commerce for centuries. Despite the busy traffic, we made our way through, passing fishing boats and larger vessels, making their way through the narrow straits. After about 10 hours, we finally reached the anchorage off Istanbul. The city's skyline appeared on the horizon, a mix of old and new, with the domes and minarets of the mosques standing proudly against the backdrop of modern buildings. The sky was overcast, but there was no wind, and the temperature was warm, a welcome change after the harsh weather we had endured. We dropped anchor in the waters off the city, and the crew took on provisions for the next part of the journey. It was here in the calm of the anchorage that the fishermen aboard the ship came to life. They couldn't resist the call of the water, the deck filled with eager anglers, all eager to cast their lines and enjoy their favorite pastime. It was a perfect moment of peace after the wild conditions we had faced. Istanbul, with its blend of history, culture, and energy, was the perfect destination to end this part of the voyage. We had crossed the Adriatic, braved the winds of the Aegean, and passed under the modern marvel of the Dardanelles Bridge. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed the video.